In spring 2024, we set sail for Europe with the intention of driving around and camping for 3 months. Before leaving, I'd been feeling like I'd lost my spark with photography, and my main aim was to find it again. While we had 3 months to travel through Europe, we only had 10 days to wring out every last bit of Portugal. From being kept awake by gunshots to partying on Lisbon rooftops, I think we did just that. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. This would be home for 5 nights, a hilltop campsite with a bring your own toilet paper kind of vibe. But these things can be overlooked when you're on top of a mountain and paying £15 a night. I've accidentally mixed in Portugal 160, 400 and 800, so I've got 800 for walking around on a hot sunny day, but that'll be fine. The first thing we needed to do was a food shop, so naturally we took the quickest way down to the city of Guimarães.
Oh God. Oh no.
You reckon it, love?
I was at the top, I feel a bit better.
Guimarães was home to Portugal's first king, and now it was home to a big dumb idiot holding a Nikon F100. Generally I shoot with the 35mm lens or 50mm lens, and often I'm shooting with Porto 160, 400 or 800. It really just depends which one I grab out of my bag first. Generally, I'm kind of trying to work towards taking pictures that I could put in a book, but naturally, it's all part of a process. And of course, that process leads to some pretty shit photos along the way. But every now and then, it also results in an absolute banger. The city was okay, but it wasn't until I took these photos that I felt like I was kind of getting in the zone a bit. As I said before, I kind of felt like I'd lost my photographic style for a while, but since I've been traveling, I've tried to hone in on how I want to shoot. And this, showing movement with slowish shutter speeds, is a really big part of that. We got those veggie burgers going. Keep us going through the hard times and the good. Pretty dishevelled from the first night.
I slept really well.
I could hear footsteps, I'm sure. But then there's a road down there, so it could be that. As it turns out, Pina, where our campsite was based, was a spot where boy racers and loved up couples came to hang out for the evening. As beautiful as sunset is, it's not really something that makes an interesting photo. So I was trying to find something that conveyed this place properly. This picture, with a little bit of movement from this old boxy car, goes halfway to achieving that. We didn't know it then, but as it turns out, we were in for one hell of a night.
Right, go on then. Tell us what happened last night.
So obviously we've got a nice early morning today, so we were like, let's have a chilled one, go to bed at about 11 or so. And started hearing what we thought was fireworks, didn't we? And then we were like, it's getting a bit closer, could be gunshots. Surely not though. It's like on the mountain, but a lot of people are around here, so we were like, we'll see. Anyway, I go to the toilet, brush my teeth, and I see the security guy, and I'm like, fireworks or gunshots? And he was like, gunshots. And I'm like, what the fuck? And he was like, oh no, it's fine, it's perfectly legal. And I was like, right. And he's like, it's wild boar hunting. And I was like, oh right. So it was like 11:30ish, coming up to 12. I was like, oh, they'll probably stop at 12. 12 o'clock comes round. Crazy. They're like shooting every second, like, and then they started chanting. And there was fireworks. I don't know what was going on. I think there was even a drone in the air. We could hear a drone. So it must have been some big thing, but it was like football chanting, like in the woods. We were in a little tent on our own. And yeah, so not the best night's sleep, and that went on till like 12:30 or so, chanting and killing wild boar. Oh yeah, and then randomly at 4 a.m. we heard like a big wild cat or something like that, or I don't know, because there's no wild cats in Portugal, but we both heard it. We woke up at like 4 a.m. Anyway, we're off to Porto, so. Yeah, you heard right. We were just about to take the coach to Porto, where I was planning on walking for miles and taking as many pictures as possible. When I go to a new city, I don't necessarily want to see all the sights. I set off for a load of different random locations with the hopes of finding more unusual spots along the way. On this day, this strategy worked exactly how I wanted it to. And of course, along the way, we may have been pulled into a market and forced to try some of the glasses of port. Walking around all day so far, pretty tired out, but if you're a big boy like me, gotta have those undershorts on. These do the job. Zoom it in. Stop you from chafing, that's what it's all about. Of all the things that I wanted to do in Porto, stopping off at Bar Exiambada, a cafe bar that also sold a wide selection of film, was near the top of my list. And of course, other than buying a roll of portrait, we had to stop and have a quick drink as well. By this point, being semi-buzzed and having a lot less time than we thought, we still wanted to head up to the famous viewpoint, Jardim do Moro. Against the clock, we decided to take our life in our hands and take one of the seriously cheap taxis of Porto. There were about 5 different shots that I loved from this viewpoint. There's just something about these guys just chilling, and one of them sort of noticing me, but obviously not really giving a shit. I think on the whole, it's just a beautiful location where people are way more chilled and it felt easier to get good moments. And I think when you're in those spots, you've got to just soak it up because they don't come that often.
I'm so put on.
I forgot how to do it in the moment. The next day we headed out to Braga, which was fun, but I didn't really film that much. It wasn't until I got back that I'd planned on exploring the area around our campsite a bit more. Despite the very real possibility of someone mistaking me for a wild boar, we headed out down the mountain to see how the locals were living. I think we've accidentally taken the mountain bike trail. This is dodgy as fuck. You gotta do it now. It's funny how there's actual crickets. We just saw a man picking oranges and I gave him a thumbs up and he let me take his photo. And then he came and gave us some oranges. I wouldn't say many shots from the neighbourhood were that great, but exploring the spots that aren't full of people or don't have landmarks is something that I find really valuable when you're trying to find interesting subjects. So as cool as northern Portugal had been, it was finally time to say goodbye to our incredibly basic campsite and say hello to 2 nights in some random dude's spare bedroom. Oh, your sunburn looks well there. Lisbon is a favourite city of mine, and Jardim do Alto de Santa Catarina is somewhere like no other to me. Now I'm not sure whether it's the views or the €3 white wine sangrias, but there was just something about this spot. The next morning we planned on walking all day and exploring in a similar way to Porto. The only problem is, Lisbon is even more hilly, and I'm a big lad with 3 camera bags on me. Going to switch it up to the 50mm, but I don't know how long that'll last. I feel like I can only take portrait pictures with a 50mm, whereas I just can't take landscapes with it. It just doesn't feel like it looks right. So let's see. It's good for details though. Some days you get moments handed to you on a plate. And some days you feel like you're always 5 seconds too late. I didn't mean for that to rhyme. Honestly, I am not that smart. But this was one of those days where I just didn't get into the flow. So there was really only one thing for it. More white wine sangrias. As handy as charging all our things and being in an actual home for 2 nights had been, trying to make breakfast in some random dude's flat while he argues over the phone in French to some poor person in customer service was wearing thin, and we were pretty ready to get back to camping. This time taking the 3-hour drive down to the Algarve, which is home to some incredible seaside cliffs and many, many Brits abroad. Prosciutto, mustard and pickle. Not bad. all set up in Lagos. Got the Lays. Oh no. Ooh. Okay. With not much of the day left, we headed 15 minutes down the road to Ponta di Piedade or Piedade. I definitely prefer Piedade. Yoga's really paying off. I knew I had a bad feeling about this place. There's a bloody ant army. Bloody alien ant farm. Look at this guy! Oh my god. We're not safe.
What's he got?
This is an example of a photo I wish I'd spent way more time on. I think there's a lot of potential in this spot, but I've got no problem with saying that this is a shit photo. Of course, Piedade was beautiful, and I don't know about you, but when I've had a good night or a good day of shooting, I'm going to be way more energized to go again the next day. Hey, get off him. Stop it. Nasties. So, first thing in the morning, we headed into Lagos for some golden hour goodness. So oh, we've got blokes in a van. It's alright here. Had no expectations. Pretty good. Lots of British people though, which is never a good thing. I'm not sure. Harsh light. To be on the other side of that. I need to be oh. I feel like the day of shooting in Lagos was more a day of ideas than it was of success. But that is how it is sometimes. It's all part of the process. And this is how I like to look at photography on the whole. It's all the process, and if you're not willing to take bad photos, then you're not going to get to the good ones. That's not to say that I think I'm amazing because I allow myself to take bad photos, but being open to that failure is a big step in the right direction. But there we go. That was pretty much our time in Portugal. A place that was only really let down by its insanely confusing toll road system, which saw me plough through the prepaid toll, which I hadn't paid for about 5 times. It had been an amazing time, and somewhere I'd definitely go back to immediately. There are definitely some shots from this part of the trip that I'm really happy with, and there are definitely some that would make it into a book, and this is probably a book that I'm looking to produce and release by the end of the year. For now though, thank you for watching. I'm sorry this one took a little while to come out. It's because I've actually moved house and it takes a lot of stuff and time to do that. But until then, obviously it'd be cool if you subscribed, but it would also be cool if you went and watched another video. So maybe go and take a look at what I've got. Thank you very much.